Hey you, so I wanted to make this video on sacrifices made to purchase metals, whether it's gold or silver for anybody, but I'm going to title this sacrifices made so I was able to purchase more gold and just go through some of the sacrifices I've made, whether it's just been lifestyle changes or cutouts altogether that were technically bad habits that were preventing me from moving forward, or it was just money being spent on junk. So before I jump into this, I'd love to say if you haven't done so already and you like what you see/hear, please do go ahead and subscribe, and also let me know of any sacrifices that you would have made in your lifestyle or in your life that's enabled you to buy more silver or more gold. So I'm just going to give a rundown. A lot of this stuff people may have done already if you're living a good clean lifestyle, or stuff that people are doing or haven't done or do, but please do let me know how your one runs down. So one of the first sacrifices I made was in the department of fashion. I've not been I was when I was a little younger. I was very fashionable, wearing the new stuff, even a lot of the designer labels. I was really into footwear, yeah, not so heavy. I've never been really heavy on the whole sneaker thing, so never really got caught up in that bubble. But when it came to like expensive pairs of jeans and t-shirts and stuff, and I'm talking 2000, just a little after that, so pre a lot of the kids. But, after that, it's just been something that's not been at the top of my list. Now, I know grown men who wear, I don't know, 300-400 pound trousers. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But for me, now, it's not something I'd never personally consider doing, because I just feel it's a waste of money. When it comes to fashion, hygiene's number one for me. So as long as you're clean and, clean underwear, socks and pants and the whole nine, and the whole body and outfit's clean, that's good enough for me, It doesn't need to be a high fashion label. It doesn't even need to be a label. I'm more than comfortable in my own skin where it doesn't need to have some special badge or tag attached to it. I'm all for, I've got brothers and close friends that are labeled up. And I just know that, mockery going on. It's just something that I personally couldn't spend, hundreds on now. For me, give me a nice, decent pair of jeans. I think you could find just as nice in the not overly expensive as you can in the overly expensive. A lot of fashion is to do with just the label itself. If it was self-cleaning cotton, for instance, if it had some type of revolutionary tech incorporated into the materials, I'd understand the price. But a lot of this stuff, you're just dealing with the heritage of the brand, and cotton is cotton. And sometimes I understand stitching in some materials when you go ultra cheap, but for me, I'm more than comfortable with it's nice, it's quality, and it's at a very handsome, reasonable price. We all have that one price that we're willing to pay. And then there's those out there that like those 500-pound pairs of jeans, or $400 jeans and those nice tags. I'm all for it. Some of this stuff does look nice because it's thrown out there to appeal to you in the fashion world, but for me, I'm more than content. So that was one of the sacrifices I made with the kids. We'll stay down the middle. The missus and me have somewhat of a sub-budget of our own when it comes to treating the kids. So she's somewhat, as you could expect, a female. A little on the heavy on the fashion side, but it's not out of the big pot of the family pot. It's usually within our own pot, and she doesn't go too insane, or I pump the brakes when I can, or give my veto. So that was one of the sacrifices I made when it came to being able myself to purchase more of the sun metal that you're seeing here. And next sacrifice I made was with technology. Now, a lot of us seeing now these new phones, that once upon a time it wasn't about phones. It would have been, for instance, something like the TVs, the big butt TVs, the big tube TVs, and it's updating your system, even your sound system, your stack system, your Techniques or Denon or whatever you may have had, your Sony Vega speakers or whatever they was back then. But now it's all about the phones and the laptops, and even the sound bars and stuff like that. These are things I once upon a time was a sucker for, and I once did start off as an Apple fanboy and had to get the new next best one. And when the new one came out, I think it was around this era with the phones that created that craze where it became a yearly thing to update very expensive pieces of items. Once upon a time, you didn't have to do that with TVs and all that stuff, and the car systems that you had to pull out or take the fascia off. But now, if you get caught in that loophole, that bubble, and I know a lot of people caught in it that actually can't afford it, so they do the whole contract. So their mobile phone contractor gives them that new device on a new contract, or 36 months, or lock them in for so and so months. But for me, I'm more than content. I normally do a step up every 2 years, so even every other year. So I'm currently, with one of the other Android devices, and I won't be getting the new one out now. I'm very happy and comfortable with the one I've currently got. The battery, that's my main issue that I like with the phones, is doing pretty well. So, and I'm seeing a lot of the new models ain't really beating it in terms of battery, so I'm more than content and happy there. But I don't be jumping on board. And I know it's just like fashion, whether it technically is, whether you've got the new device. It's all about getting caught up in that bubble or not. But once again, absolutely not knocking nobody that does that. And there's people out there that can afford to, or their lifestyle enables them to do that plus stack. So this one, I'm not bashing it, it's just a sacrifice that I personally made, and would love to hear the ones that you guys done. So technology in terms of TVs was never a major thing I was updating, but you have, what was it, from HD and the HDR and the 3D, and I've owned all. So I got caught up in all of those bubbles. And where's 3D now? Then the OLED, and then the QLED, and then the 4K, and then the 8K, and then the KK, and all the Ks are going up and everything. I don't get caught in the bubble. TV-wise, I'm very content with where I am now. It's a smart TV, so I'm happy. Won't be updating that anytime soon. But technology is definitely another bubble that's got humanity trapped at the moment, if not moving every year to upgrade. So I was happy that I'm out of that loop anyway. So another sacrifice or area that I made sacrifices in is in holidays. And so now family holidays included. Now, we're not exactly, I'm putting the tents up in the back garden and having great days out in the night there. But it was something where, and we both came to this agreement, we want to be able to live a comfortable life later on in our older years, and also help our kids get up. I'm a firm believer that it'll be a lot more appreciated later for the kids wise if we can lessen the burden. I know it's great and good to make them work hard for it, and I worked hard for mine. I do feel guilty sometimes that I've given them such an easy ride, because if I would have had that easy ride, maybe I wouldn't have been so, the way I am. But it just is what it is when it comes to that. So we definitely made sacrifices. I know people that families that, 3 times a year that they holiday, the family of 4, a minimum 2. For me, it's not a priority. I would sooner be in a comfortable position, debt free, and have a lot of other issues sorted than be on a termly holidays. I've done a recent vlog-ish when I done one, and we'll just have to see where that goes. But they're definitely not pre-planned and paid in advance every year. So that was something. If I'm not really holidaying with the family, then it's not something I'm doing unless it's Europe and an in and out trip. So that was something that I also made a sacrifice in the area. But I do love my holidays. Soaking up the sun is definitely, it's a fantastic reboot, and it's one that I'm looking forward to. So that was, if anything, going to be the hardest one that I had to make, but it was a most definite one that had to be done. So another one would be vehicles, cars. I was never a massive petrol head to begin with, but I can like a lot of the technology included with the cars, and just a lot of the nice trims and engines and MPGs that come out with new vehicles. Last mentioned, was never a massive petrol head, but there also, unless it's absolutely needed, i.e. An increase in family size, I'd still be driving my old vehicle. But I'm definitely not tire chasing, and even then it's not going to be a brand new something. I've taken a lot of hits on cars in the past. I want to get something that's taking the majority of the hit out when we're talking depreciation. I don't need to be buying the brand new plate that's out and the likes of. So that was something that earlier on I knew that wasn't the best, and I made a sacrifice. And once again, if these things, and these are luxuries of life, we all have our vices. So just because I did it or do it doesn't mean you should. We all live different lifestyles. If it's going to be hard, it's like somebody giving up alcohol or drunk food or drugs, for instance. It's hard. It's different for each and every person. But I have priorities, and these are things that wasn't an issue for me. So another one after vehicles would be stuff like takeaways. Lifestyle, another change there. I love junk food as much as the next man, if you are a junk food freak, but I'm fussy to some degree. I could eat a burger and I'll be saying, it was nice, but I could have done better. That's the type of person I am. And I really enjoy my own cooking, or cooking that we've played a part in as a family, and just to better what I eat. So I'm the type of person that I want to do it better, especially if we do ever go out to a restaurant, find out the ingredients and prove to myself that it can be done. But even ready meals, once upon a time when it was just no time and I was back late in the evenings, pick up a ready meal from one of the supermarkets. Those were never any good anyway. They was always never agreed with my belly. But takeaways, as expensive as they are, I always know, even whipping stuff up, you get that personal, I don't know, and everybody does, but that good feeling when you've done it yourself. You can control the ingredients, whether it's too much salt, too much sugar, and you really know what's going in there. I know I've heard horror stories, and I know people that have worked in restaurants, and it's never a good thing in the end of the day when you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. But this is something I also made a massive cut and sacrificing, and you could really save a lot when you end up doing your own stuff. And it's not as hard as many people believe, unless you're cooking for a very large amount of people. You can spend anywhere from an hour to 2 hours in the kitchen, and it could be over with in 20 or 15 minutes. But I've always been the type to prep my meat, whether it's seasoning on all the foods, and just do it days in advance, and just have everything organized in the fridge, and then it's just take out, cook, and go. And I enjoy that. I'm organized. I'm somewhat like that, so I'm just special like that. But that was another area, and all the areas I'm mentioning enabled me to be able to stack more, because I was saving loads and loads of money. And food is something we eat every day, so it's a necessity. So doing that, if it's either buying meat in bulk from the meat market, the fish market, and the likes of, these are all things that I do. So another area we made sacrifices in is going to be in maintenance. That's just personal maintenance, and that was stuff like the likes of subscriptions. We all have these cable, satellite TV subscriptions. For me, I'm not that much of a caveman. I didn't cut it all out and jump on the stage to entertain the kids and family. But I would say out of all of the subscription services, whether it's the Sky Sports or, any of these channels, for me, the only one I do have is Netflix, because all the kids can log into that, and they're not overly involved or interested in that, especially the boys. The girls, it's here or there. They normally have a movie or something they want to really pick out and watch. But I do own Netflix. It's a family used account. Outside of that, here's Sky TV. I have the basic package. I'm not really a massive TV watcher either. Dry cleaning and stuff, anything that needed dry cleaning, I don't wear too much. I've always seen dry cleaning as a bit of a con, whenever I used to maybe my own dry cleaner, I just wasn't impressed with the finish. So, a lot of the stuff, if it's cashmere, we hand washed that ourselves, and, some things can be done a lot better if you do them yourself. So all these types of services I don't really use. I prefer, once again, doing it myself. If you want a job done properly, do it yourself. And when it comes so even stuff like that. And then I would say even movies. Cinema, I know, oh my God, he's a hermit. But no, I haven't been overly impressed with a lot of the movies that have come out within the past couple of years. Please let me know your favourite movie that you saw in the cinema last. I'm not saying they've been horrible, but I've watched them and I wasn't overly impressed. And anything from the old Marvel movies to anything else you could mention, a lot of the reboots going on at time of releasing this. What do we have out? The Terminator and the Joker. These are movies that are going around the circle. A lot of people have came back and said Joker's magnificent and Terminator's meh. But let me know, no spoilers down below. But these are things, if I do go cinema, I'd rather not. I could wait till they come out on disc or something, or somebody passes me an illegally downloaded copy. I'm being serious now, I'm joking. But, it's no rush to go out to the cinemas and stuff like that. I don't think I'm missing out on anything or really suppressing myself, because these things really add up. I mean, cinema costs out in London or the UK now can be anywhere from £10 to even £15 or £20 at sometimes and peak times and the likes of. So these are massive savings I've made, and I don't think I'm missing out on anything special, especially when we're talking movies. So these are some of the sacrifices I've made, and it's enabled me to pump these funds back into this stuff here. This is something that is not going to be spunked away. Everything I've mentioned just a moment ago is stuff I blew money on fast. Everything you see here once upon a time would have been spent on all the stuff I just mentioned, and you wouldn't see what I've been showing now. So these are the sacrifices I made to enable me to buy these things here, and also put me in the right mindset, whereas these things at a later date will come back and serve me and do me well, whereas everything mentioned is here today, gone tomorrow. Well, maybe not, but maybe so. But I'd love to know the sacrifices that you guys have made when it's been enabling you to purchase more gold or silver. So let me know down below in the comments. Also, let me know what you think of this video, and also if you haven't done so already, once again, as we try to get this out the capsule, please do go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll catch you guys on the rebound.